Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Sunday, December 15th, and the energies in the day adds up or reduce to number 8 vibration. As today is your birthday. Happy birthday. So today is the full moon and Mercury goes direct. I'm so happy Mercury is going direct. I'm so happy for it in the sense that, yes, I'm not one of those people who stops my world when Mercury goes in retrograde. Like, I continue to live my life. I continue to do business as usual, but instead around those times is what I do different is I am more present. I challenge myself to be more present. And other times when I might scan through the fine print real quick and even completely dismiss it while Mercury's retrograde, I check everything and double check everything. I take my time with everything. Like, I just move a lot slower and I'm constantly checking. So I'll check, they say measure twice, cut once. So while Mercury's in retrograde, I'll measure 4 times and cut once to make sure that I'm present within a thing, because I'm aware that during Mercury retrograde, Mercury is the mind, and when a planet's retrograding, the energy has slowed down so much. The planet has slowed down so much that it appears to be going backwards because of the speed it's going in relation to everything else. So with that slow down speed, its energy is amplified here. So with its energy being so amplified, there's a lot of focus. It's like, I think of normally the planets are balanced to a certain extent, but now Mercury is heavier than the rest, has a more gravitational pull than the rest because it's slowed down and appearance to coming so close because it's not moving so fast. So during Mercury retrograde, I remember having different conversations with people and it coming up over and over where people are saying I'm seeing my words, but them coming out feels like it's like a different task. And at the beginning of every month, I always sit down and do I always sit down, look at how much money I spend on food, look at how much money I spend on fun, look at how much money I spent on everything. I look at how much money came in versus money that went out. I always do all of that every month. And this month doing it, it felt like, I don't even want to speak. I don't even want to use the words to put that negative frequency out there to all of y'all, what was happening in my mind. But it's like regular things that I would do, certain calculations. It's almost like my mind will get a blur where it's like, what the hell is going on? To where earlier this morning, I was looking at something, I was looking at, say, how much moves Tesla made. And, if a person was to look to invest in Tesla with the least risk, where instead of, say, actively participating in the stock market, maybe you're buying shares in Robinhood or something like that, but you're able to read the charts enough to know when when a company is at a very discounted price. So you get in and you get out to where you're actively making money. And it's like something that I think about all the time. All of a sudden, my mind just went blank. It's like a computer that's just loading and loading and loading and loading. And that could be because of, I did eat really late last night and heavy foods that could be a part of it, but it's been a pattern. It's been a pattern during the Mercury retrograde, where there were certain times when I'm doing things that I do regularly and my mind just feels like it's loading. And it's like, it makes me want to do this, like, come on now, like, you know, like shake it up so it could start flowing properly. And that's not something that I normally experience. It feels like something about Mercury retrograde and maybe opposing Jupiter the whole time and squaring Pisces, that T-square between Mercury, Jupiter, and Pisces. There's something about it. There's something to be said about it. There's something to be said about that energy. And I felt it. So I'm so happy it moving direct. Because it would feel as if certain information that I have within the files of my mind, information that I access on a regular basis, it almost felt like for a second I forgot the password to open the doors for those information. And I didn't like that. It was little things. It wasn't major things. It was little things, but little things that were important to me. It's like all of a sudden I got to stop for a second to remember how to, it was interesting. So Mercury goes direct today, and we have a full moon in Gemini today. So with the full moon in Gemini energy today, I'm loving this full moon energy in Gemini because something, you know, this is the last full moon of the year. And with this, the last full moon of the year, to me, it's like the cleaning that we do, the last cleaning for 2025, or releasing when it comes to a thing. And I feel like perfect full moon in Gemini, because Gemini has to do with our thoughts, and our thoughts create our reality. So it's great to, you know, let go, throw out the old thought, the old ways of thinking, or the old perspectives that didn't work, and, you know, recognize they don't work and throw them out so that we could be open for new ones moving into the future. And I love that Jupiter energy in Gemini. I've been speaking on this transit a lot, because with Jupiter energy in retrograde, Jupiter is bringing in so much context. So with the context Jupiter is bringing in, you can't act like you don't know that that food is messing you up. You can't act like you don't know that that person's not your friend. You can't act like you don't know that you hate living there. You can't act like you don't know that you hate working with them people. It's like you can't act like you don't know something that you've been acting like you didn't know for the longest. And with this energy, it put it in your face and gave you a whole lot of context. And now it's up to you to do something about it, if you choose to do something about it. But if you choose not to do anything about it, that's fine too, because you could do whatever it is that you want to do. But at least now you get to accept that you choose to do nothing about it. I think of, like, say you have a friend, and you have a friend that keeps eating these foods that she's allergic to. And she keeps coming to you and complaining about the rashes that she's getting. And with Jupiter energy, she gets so much context to the point that she has to acknowledge that she is choosing to poison herself, and she cannot come to you anymore with it. So it's like, now you guys get to carry on the friendship and focus on other things that you guys enjoy together, but she cannot burden you anymore with that, because she's given so much context where that's concerned. Now she has to keep it to herself. She can't act like anybody else is doing anything to her, or doing it to her. She has to own that she is choosing to participate, choosing to do it to herself. So, you know, that could be you when it comes to certain things. Where for me, what clicked for me with all this context is, for the last 3 years, I've made the biggest risk that I've ever made in my whole life. And that was closing my salon and working from home completely and focusing on other things that I'm interested in. And even though I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, for some people it might seem risky, because, you know, every day, every week, every month, I don't know how much money I'm going to make, but I've always did well for myself, and I've never needed another job other than just doing hair. Like, once I went into the beauty industry in 2006, like In 2006, I never had another job, a side job, never had to supplement my income with anything. I just expected that my bills will be paid in that way. I just naturally expected that, and the universe delivered. But then stepping away from that and making my money in a different way, that was the scariest thing ever. And I realized that for the past 3 years, I did not allow myself to enjoy my life. Like, for the most part, I spent a lot of time stressing and worrying that things might not work out, even though every month things work out. Every month things, every month things work out. But of course, I went from making money a certain way where it's like with every transaction, you come in, we do an exchange, opposed to it coming in different ways compared to what I was used to. So it's like I had to reset myself to live in my new life. And I feel like there's a lot of people here that might find that you have to reset yourself also to live in this new life that you've manifested. But with all this context, it clicked to me that I chastised myself to a certain extent for the last 3 years, fearing the worst, even though there was never a reason to fear the worst. There was never a moment to fear the worst. There was never a moment, meaning that there was never a month or never a time where, everything I needed wasn't there. Everything I needed was always there. But even though it was always there, I would find something to worry about. So the context, it clicked to me that I had this addiction to chronic worrying. And I saw something the other day on the internet that says worrying is worshiping your problems. I was addicted to worshiping my problems, but they weren't even real problems. I was addicted to worshiping false evidence appearing to be real. And when it clicked to me, I said, no more will I do this to myself. I will no longer allow myself to worry about anything. Like if like the other day, a friend was dealing with some things and had to make some ends. A friend was dealing with some things with some deadline. And within the last moment, everything came through and the friend raised all the funds that she needed in order to make her thing happen. And she hit me up and she's like, the universe came through. I raised all the funds. And I'm like, of course the universe comes through. The universe always comes through. And if ever it appears that the universe is not coming through, it's because our steps are being redirected. Something is trying to get our attention about something. So it's like it clicked to me that, you know what, no more will I waste my energy worrying, worshiping false evidences appearing to be real. False evidences that I'm making up in my mind. I'm going to live my life, live my best life. And if ever, there is a situation or a time where, for whatever reason, something isn't working out the way how I would think, then maybe it's time to move on. This brings me to when I was living in Cali and I was renting a booth in this salon in Crenshaw, Baldwin Hills, Crenshaw area, not the one that I built my clientele at. But I was at a different one before that. And I always had this thing that I said to myself where it's like, okay, I'm going to go to this salon. And if ever I have to come out of pocket to pay my booth rent, that's a sign from the universe that this is not where I belong. Because I would go to the salon to build up. But then if the salon has a nice flow of walk-ins, then from the walk-ins, I'll be able to make money to where I'm at least able to break even. And I was at the salon for a month, and the first week that I had to pay out of pocket, it was like around Christmas time. And I knew that, okay, it's time for me to give the owner notice. It's time for me to go. And that's when I moved to the salon inside the mall. And that's where I built my clientele at. Because once the money stopped flowing to me, that was the universe's way of redirecting my steps. Of course, I had a nice savings put aside to supplement me. But at the same time, I said, if I ever have to come out of pocket to pay this booth rent, it's time to go. So I'll do little things like that with myself where it's like, okay, if ever I can't afford to do a thing, then I know that the universe is redirecting me somewhere else. And that's how it's always been. You know, like with my friend that was able to meet her deadline. It's like the universe comes through. The universe always comes through. And if ever it doesn't, it's just redirecting us in some way. And I feel like when it comes to today's energy, like it's important. I think of like the alchemist and how, you know, the alchemist spoke about, what is it? Humi and Fumi, something like that. It's like omens, having your own omens within yourself, like having your own system within yourself, to living by a system that you create within you. So while I was in Cali, that system was, if ever I have to come out of pocket, I'm out. If ever I have to come out of pocket, this is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm out. Because in my mind, a good salon, like when I enter into a salon, a good salon is a place where people are eating, people are getting bread. Because for me, if people in there are getting bread and if people in there are making money, then that means money is flowing in, and the overflow is what I'm looking to use to build my clientele. And if that's not happening, then that's not where I belong. And it also brings me to the importance of being around people who are doing well, being around people who are winning. Where I remember going into a salon and this one girl would complain about how this one stylist is so busy. But with her, like, she has a hard time, like she's saying how, no, she would complain about how ain't no money to be made. But when I looked around, I saw the opposite. Because if there's one stylist over there that's killing it, that's eating, that's like, if there's one stylist over there where her cup is overflowing like crazy, that is a clear sign that there is money here to be made. You just have to tap into that. And that stylist was the one who told me about hashtags. The same stylist that was in that shop killing it. She was the one who told me about Instagram and hashtags. And I didn't implement what she shared with me right away. But when I moved from the Bay Area down to LA, I implemented it. And that's how I was able to build my clientele at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Salon. And I had shared that in a past video. So she had a method as to why she was eating all that food, as to why she killing it. Yes, she has the skills to go with it. But at the same time, she had a way of bringing the energy in. She shared it with me. I didn't act on it right away, but I later acted on it, and it was a game changer. And when I left Cali and came back to Florida, I was able to jump into my own salon from the first day. I came April 1st, and by the 11th, I was in my own private salon. And before I even got back, I was in Cali posting and using those tags. So when I got back, like I have people already booking before I even secured the space. And maybe somebody needs to hear that. But that thing that she taught me, it carried me a long way. So when it comes to today's energy, it brings me to the importance of the systems that we associate ourselves with. It brings me to the importance of not being intimidated by people around you who appear to be doing better than you. The fact that there are people who are around you doing better than you is a really, really good sign, because it shows you what's possible for you. And if anything, the question is, what is it that they know that I don't know? Because when it came to that salon in the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw, not the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw, in the Bay Area, like, when it came to styling wise and skills, I don't want to toot my own horn, but when it came to styling wise and skills, like, I had that locked, but that wasn't enough. There was something that stylist knew that I didn't, and she was kind enough to tell me. And I applied it, and I bridged the gap between us. I was able to access and tap into what she was tapping into. So it's important for us to, realize that, yes, when you see someone around you and they're doing or appear to be doing better than you, it's not that they're better than you, it's they know something you don't know. And the first thing to ask yourself is, what is it that they know that I don't know? I need to know what they know that I don't know. And that's the approach that I now take. I approach things in that way. What does that person know that I don't know? I want to know what they know, because their situation is a result of what they know and them applying the knowledge. It's not about, yes, knowledge is power, but it's only power when it's applied. To me, knowledge is like a seed, and the seed is money. It's potential money when you plant it. Because when you plant that seed, it will harvest and grow things that you can trade or sell and make money. But just the seed alone is just a seed. It's potential. Knowledge alone is just knowledge, but planting it, applying it is where the power is. And when it comes to the spirit animal, we have the shark in the reversal position. With the shark in the reversal position, it brings me to getting out of your feelings, like getting out of your feelings. So I think of like that salon in the Bay Area and that one stylist that, was always feeling sorry for herself and complaining about how there's no business and how the economy and this and that and whatnot. And even if that was the case about the economy, when you looked at that one stylist in the shop, like she was like, her situation said something else. Her situation said that the economy is booming. Where her mother and the other stylists, their situation said that we're in a drought. But the fact that that one stylist was over there showing something different, to me mirrored that it was a mindset thing. It was a mindset thing. In her mind, it's booming. In their mind, it's a drought. And she reflected that stuff is booming, and they reflected the drought that they believed in. So when it comes to today's energy, it's important to understand that, like, the way we see the world and ourselves in it is what we're going to see, is what we're going to experience. And with this full moon and Gemini energy, it's like, okay, you get all this context, you get all this knowledge, but what do you do with it? And it's time for us to do this cleaning, this clearing of energy, and recognizing what no longer works and making space for what does. And I love that the devil energy came out in the reversal position, because it brings me to breaking chains. It brings me to separating ourselves from things that, whether it's a habit. And like I said, the devil in the reversal position is me realizing for the last 3 years, I got up and worried about worst case scenarios while my reality was showing me something different. My reality is showing me something different, but I am disregarding what my reality is saying to me, and instead worrying about like possible things that can go wrong, making myself a slave to that energy. Where in the reversal position, it brings me to coming to the realization that I've been doing that, gaining context on myself and my mindset, and sitting on the couch and telling myself I will never abuse myself like that again. Where I'm sitting around worrying about possibilities of what can happen. Yes, for me, fear is a friend misunderstood, in the sense that whenever, you feel fearful about something, it's an opportunity to assess to make sure everything is secure. But once you recognize that, everything is safe and you do whatever needs to be done, it's time to just, dismiss that energy and no longer entertain it. But like I said, I was addicted to worrying. I was addicted to worshiping problems, or addicted to worshiping fear, false evidences appearing to be real. And it felt so good to release that. It felt so good to release that. And this all clicked for me leading up to the new moon in Sag. Whereas like I'll do these videos and then I'll go off into the shell within myself and forget that, oh, we have a new moon today. It was a new moon in Sag, leading up to the new moon in Sag. I'll forget that, oh, we have a new moon today, or we have a new moon in a few days. And it's like, I'll read a comment and it's like, happy new moon. And it's like, oh shoot, it is the new moon. And right leading up to it, I came to that realization within myself, and the reflective energy helped me to recognize that. And that's what I love about the whole Mercury retrograde vibe. Yes, I complained about some things that felt overwhelming as my attention is focused on other things. So being able to access certain thoughts that I access on a regular basis felt like it required more energy than normal. But what I love about Mercury retrograde energy is that it helps us to revisit certain things, and certain things may have not worked out in the past, or it may have went over our head because we didn't have enough knowledge or experience. But then Mercury retrograde comes around and allow us to revisit them. And at the time of revisiting them, we might be mature enough, disciplined enough, or self-aware enough to, implement new changes implement new changes that we couldn't in the past because we just weren't ready. So Mercury goes direct today. Hopefully we all collected some goodies in our bag while Mercury was in retrograde, learned some things about ourselves, some things that allow us to be more free in however way you want to feel and be more free. And then with Gemini full moon, we come to a realization around, we gain context on certain things, and we get to choose. Do I leave this behind and, go and experience new things because it's clear this doesn't work? Or do we choose to stay stuck in a place where things don't work, but we know we're choosing to stay stuck in that place? And to me, that's awful to know that you're the one doing this thing to you. Like, hopefully that alone makes everybody choose to, choose what's best for themselves. Choose themselves, have the discipline to choose themselves. But it's not even just discipline. I guess it's the fear of the unknown that will cause us to stay stuck in a situation or in a state that clearly doesn't work. But overall, when it comes to these energies, I love how it's all helping us to gain new perspectives that in return will set us free. It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. Before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a pink heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.